but we waited to bring out the big gun.
That's right. What we in studio. This is special.
That's right. With Chris Carr, Attorney General and running for governor of the state of Georgia. Man, how are you?
Gentlemen, I'm doing great. It's just great to be in studio with you.
It
great
is
to see you.
So much fun
right
to
in
have
front
you.
of me.
And we should be talking about, I don't know, the campaign, I'm sure, but we didn't. Leading up to where we are now, all we talked about were the Braves,
the Falcons, and what happened with the Hawks last night.
I mean, come on, that's where our heart really is.
That is real America. That is what Georgians care about. Seriously.
No, you ain't got to convince me.
At the end of the day, everybody's talking about it first thing in the morning. What happened to the Braves? And we can't let the Dodgers win the World Series. I love Freddie Freeman. He is a Brave for life. But I can't watch him win another World Series.
Because he might go into the Hall of Fame with the Dodgers logo on his hat if he gets 2 rings out there.
I asked for 6 games.
A punch in the face.
I said, I want 6 games. If I get a possible 7th, now I can't. I'm with you. I can't have the Dodgers win.
Can't.
And for everyone who turned this into, well, it's America versus Toronto, I was like, you're basically just saying, here's my group of Dominicans, and here's the team. You pick out which one you want to win.
One Canadian on that team.
Exactly. You got one Canadian on the team. So let's not kid around. This is just about the Dodgers not getting another title.
Well, and going back to us growing up, NL West. You had to stay up late to watch the Braves play the Padres or the Dodgers. Cannot have it. We cannot have this.
I still remember, and this was talking about when I was growing up in San Antonio, it was a big deal to me to go to the newspaper to chase the 93 Braves and having to come back and get back in that race and win as much as they did before they lost to Philadelphia. That was like a fun summer for me. So I grew up as like this giant Braves and Rangers fan.
Yeah, man, I tell you, the Braves have fans all over the country because of TBS, because of what started right here in town.
That's right. Well, and when I was in college, so I graduated high school in 90. That was the last rough year we had. The 91, I got a job in the summer delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut. And listening to the Braves every night. That was the best summer ever.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought, I made $30 or $40 in cash. I thought I was rich, and I got to listen to the Braves.
Let's go.
You're paying me to listen to the Braves?
Are you paying me to do this? This is fantastic.
Pizza's a little bit cold because you're hanging on the inning. Like, I'll be in there, man. I'm going to bring it. Hang on.
End of the inning. End of the inning.
And I'll be in there. Chris Carr joining us, Attorney General, and running for governor. I want you to reset for people maybe that don't know why you chose to run for governor.
Well, because I feel I'm called to do this. I've been fortunate. I grew up here, worked at Georgia Pacific, worked at Alston & Bird, a couple of great Georgia companies and great law firm. But then I got to work for Johnny Isakson for 10 years when he was in the U.S. Senate. And I got to see somebody that I really thought, really did it the right way for the right reasons and got to know these federal issues. So as Attorney General and Governor, you got to be able to do that. Then I got to work for Nathan Deal at economic development. And what has transformed this state over the last 3 or 4 decades? It's a job. People are here, you're here, I'm here, my family, your family, because of a job. Either you stayed here or you moved here. And that's transformed. That's just that not every state can say that. And then Governor Deal appointed me Attorney General, and the thing that government is supposed to do is keep people safe. I don't care where you live, your race, your gender, your religion, sexual orientation, where you live or where you're from, doesn't matter. You deserve to be safe. And working with Governor Kemp, the legislature, to be able to now go after gangs and domestic terrorism and human trafficking, now organized retail theft, that's what we're supposed to do. And that's what governors can do. They can impact people's lives. Look, I've seen Washington, but you guys know it's broken. I mean, you just talked to our great Congress. Rich McCormick does an incredible job, and God bless him for doing it. But Washington's just broken right now. But when I've seen what Governor Kemp can do, when I saw what Governor Deal could do, Governor Perdue, this is where I think, and the states really are where innovation is happening and where the action is, and I think we can make the biggest impact by being governor.
Chris Carr joins us right here on the Morning Extra, and let me first start by saying I've always been extremely impressed when you come in and you talk about, I got this pending case, I can't get into that, here's what's been taken care of, we can get into this. So I think you've always been very open and honest with the audience. So for your vision as governor, now we talk about that economy and the diversity of the economy, whether you want to work in entertainment, whether you want to work in retail or in hospitality, like Georgia has something for everybody. What is your vision for this economy in Georgia continuing to be diverse and continue to grow?
Absolutely. Well, this state's been built on agriculture, manufacturing, trade, military, hospitality, construction, you name it. There's a number of issues. The number one issue is workforce. Everybody's talking about workforce. Doesn't matter if you're in retail or you're in entertainment or whatever it may be. So it starts with literacy. It starts then with aligning the jobs of the future. AI's here, but that also means somebody's going to have to build the facilities and wire the facilities, maintain it. We've got to be able to focus on infrastructure. I mean, look, we got the ports of Savannah and Brunswick. We've got Hartsfield. We're 2 days by rail and truck, 2 hours by plane to 80% of the U.S. market. We should be the logistics capital of the world, which, oh, by the way, it's a tech play. I mean, I'm a double dog. But God bless Georgia Tech. God bless this infrastructure and this ecosystem that we have here. Got to have a balanced legal environment. And you got to have a tax system, guys, that's the lowest tax burden in the country. I do believe we can get the income tax down to 3%. But if anybody says they can eliminate it without raising taxes on 90% of Georgians, they're lying. You can't do it.
It's got to come from somewhere.
It has to. You're either going to have to raise property or sales. But here's the other thing. Property taxes. Everybody's talking about, I don't care if you live in Atlanta or Savannah or Thomasville. You know, the American dream of buying a house, you get there and you buy one, and all of a sudden it gets assessed 10, 20, 30% higher than when you bought it, and you're taking away the American dream. There's got to be a cap on property taxes. So those are the things. But also safety. And mental health is a huge issue in the safety, whether it's your family. And look, I mean, if you ask everybody about addiction or just traditional, mental health issues, everybody's having to deal with it.
My family, without a doubt, it has riddled our family.
But look downtown, homelessness, poverty. What's the root cause of homelessness and poverty? Mental health.
Yeah.
Go talk to our hospitals. They're having to deal with people that are having mental health crises rather than physical, and that's not what they're there for. Our sheriffs. The vast majority of people that are in our jails are struggling with addiction or mental health. So, I mean, it's expensive. I mean, look, it's a big deal. It's complicated. It's expensive. You got to bring everybody to the table. Federal, state, and local government. You've got to bring nonprofits, for-profits, and the faith-based community together to solve this problem. But we've got to be able to focus on those things.
That's a big, big task for sure. Talking to Chris Carr, who's running for governor here in Georgia, current attorney general. I want to ask you about, because I have a kid that's a junior in college.
Me too.
At
Georgia.
Yeah. He's playing baseball over at Augusta. So,
great.
Yeah, super cool, great. He's been a Dean's List student his entire college career. But what are the expectations for a job when he gets out of school? Should he then go and not only, because Dr. McCormick actually brought this up, his son got a 4-year degree and they sent him to a trade school to make sure that he has the ability to live in that American dream. What do you recommend for kids? And if you're governor, when you're elected governor, what would you recommend for kids?
And what do you tell yours as far as what is the future for these young people?
Yeah, do what you're passionate about doing and invest in some sort of an internship at the beginning. Get the experience and then show the soft skills that you can work. I know that's not the question, but it's part of it. And that's why I do worry a little bit about our kids, that have grown up on social media, that were impacted by COVID. Our kids, 10th, 11th, 12th, mental huge issue. But going back to the skill set, Georgia is different. Whether it's advanced manufacturing, whether it's agriculture, whether it's logistics, whether it's entertainment, fintech, mobility, cyber, we've got a lot of opportunities. So our kids are going to have and we want to continue to make sure those opportunities are here. So focusing on those industries. But the Wall Street Journal the other day said this: who's the next generation of millionaires? It's the skilled trades kids. And we did a great disservice in this country in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s when we started telling kids, if you go to technical college, you're not as smart as...
That's right.
And I'm all about going to college, really.
Yeah. But
I'm also about those skills. I mean, think about a buddy of ours owns a plumbing company. Average salary for a plumber right now is over $100,000 a year. Master mechanic, electrician. So, yeah, and why we ever took, shop out of high school, I never will understand it, but we got to focus on doing that again. But doing the thing that you're passionate about. Yes, AI is here. Yes, we're trying to figure out what that reset is, but there are going to be also jobs created to deal with it. CEO of an AI company said, look, you're probably not going to lose your job to AI. Some people may, others may not, but what you're probably going to do is lose your job to someone that knows how to use AI better than you. So learn how to use AI.
That is an important factor. As we're joined by Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr, also running for governor. My wife has talked about that. She's worked in basically as an editor and as a magazine editor for the better part of 20 years, and she's talked about how on a daily basis she uses AI. Now, part of what she's pointing out is that it's incorporated into her job to save her time. She still has to go back. She still has to make sure that it's been edited correctly and that it says whatever the company has hired her to do. But it's now become part of her resume that she's comfortable with these versions of AI. And I think that's part of that future for all workers all across the country.
I think that's right. And look, there's going to be good that's going to come from it. Yeah, former boss Johnny Isaacson had Parkinson's. I hope we learn through, AI can help us cure Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, whatever it may be. Look, using it for traffic and congestion, or there's some great uses. Fighting crime and doing some other things. There's going to be some downsides to it as well. Scams, elections. It worries me. What happens if 3 or 4 days before an election you see a video of one of us candidates saying something outrageous? Well, I've talked to folks at the FBI. They said we'll be able to figure it out eventually, but it probably won't be in 3 days. That can undermine. So we got to have the guardrails. The other thing too is I do think at the end of the day, it's going to supplement a lot. It's going to add to a lot, but AI is never going to have a soul. You're still going to have human beings that are willing to be able to do things and are going to be there. And remember how when the internet came out, retail was going to go away, malls were going to go away. Well, it ended up being a supplement. In some respects, it took some, but not most.
This is the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. Our guest, Chris Carr. We're going to take a break quick and then come back with another segment with you because there's so much to talk about when it comes to that economic growth. And then when we talk about people coming to the United States of America, are we going to need as many people? And that's a big conversation. J.D. Vance was talking about immigration last night down at Ole Miss. Maybe get into some of that and how many people we're going to need because AI will take some of those jobs. And how do we work around that here in the state of Georgia under a Carr governorship? Next on the Morning Extra at Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, October 30th. The Toronto Blue Jays now lead the World Series 3-2 after beating the Dodgers last night 6-1 in pivotal Game 5. The scene now moves back to Toronto for Game 6 and a possible Game 7. Game 6 is set for Friday night. The Atlanta Hawks, they're now 2-3 on the season after beating the winless Brooklyn Nets 117-112. But Trae Young, he was forced to leave the game with a knee injury after having a teammate fall into his leg. Initial reports indicate that his ACL is intact, but Young will have another MRI today. Week 9 in the NFL begins tonight as the Miami Dolphins host the Baltimore Ravens. That kickoff is set for 8:15. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Hey, Braves fans. Some things just get better with time, like your love for the Braves and banking with Truist One Checking. It's checking for life, offering everyday essentials like no overdraft fees and a tap-to-pay debit card. And great extras you'll appreciate season after season, like automatic upgrades as your balances grow. Be ready every inning with Truist One Checking. It's life-ready checking that grows with you. Get Truist One Checking today. Truist Bank. Member FDIC.
At Aikens Ford & Winder, we love trucks, and you'll love our deals on trucks. Like $15,000 off the MSRP on select 2025 Ford F-150 XLT Crew Cab pickups. Hi, this is Brad Aikens, and now through October 31st, take $15,000 off the MSRP on select 2025 Ford F-150 XLT Crew Cab pickups. These pickups also come with Ford's 10-year limited factory warranty at no additional charge, and we have over 50 to choose from. Plus, qualifying veterans and first responders receive an extra $1,000 off in addition to this discount at Aikens Ford & Winder, just 25 minutes east of the Mall of Georgia on Highway 29. Stock number 06333, MSRP $69,098, sale price $44,098. With approved financing in your 1995 or newer trade. Dealer retains factory rebates plus government fees. Ford's limited warranty is 10 years or 100,000 miles. See dealer for details. See these Ford F-150 crew cabs today at AikensFord.com. Aikens, we're closer, bigger, and have better deals on Ford F-150s than you think.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Are home repairs piling up? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Relax. We've got you covered. From drywall dings and leaky faucets to deck repairs and trim replacement, we're your one-stop shop for everything for your home needs. No more juggling multiple contractors. Just call us at the Trusted Toolbox and we'll handle it. Your home deserves the best, and we don't want you breaking your back trying. Call the Trusted Toolbox today at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. The Trusted Toolbox, your one-stop shop for home repairs and more.
It's October 30th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is Candy Corn Day. According to folklore, Philadelphia candy maker George Reniger invented the revolutionary tricolor candy in the 1880s. Some describe it as waxy and sickeningly sweet, and others just can't seem to get enough of this seasonal treat. Celebrate by gobbling up a bunch of candy corn. On this day in 1938, during the radio broadcast H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, narrated by Orson Welles, allegedly caused a mass panic. In 1940, the film premiere of One Night in the Tropics, the first film from the comedy team Abbott and Costello, it debuts in Paterson, New Jersey, and includes a shorter version of their famous Who's On First routine.
Look, all I'm trying to find out is what is the fella's name on first base.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Let's straighten that out. What is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who is on first?
I don't know.
Oh, he's on third. Now, we're not talking about...
How did I get on third base?
I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The Fan and Extra 106.3 are proud to salute all those who've served our great nation at our 2025 Veterans Day Golf Classic. Friday, November 7th at Heritage Golf Links. Join all your favorite Fan and Extra personalities for a day of golf, prizes, and fun, all benefiting our friends at the Warrior Alliance. Special thanks to the Atlanta Braves, Corona Southern Exteriors, Akins Ford, Georgia Sports Autographs, Harris Cherokee Casino and Resorts, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Freebird Southern Spring Water, Henri's Bakery, and The Color Spot.
Second Los until 10 on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999, 877-97, southernexterior.co. You know you got somebody important in the studio when the owner comes marching in.
He's like, I got to go see Mr. Chris Carr.
That's right.
This man's running for governor.
That's right. I got
to come swing by.
Make sure I got that relationship.
He doesn't do that all the time.
He was coming to say hi to you guys. That's what this thing was.
No, sir.
The rock stars.
Yeah, no, by no means.
He's only come in once or twice to go, what'd you say, Tug?
Yeah, exactly. See if we can dial that back. No, you know what's the best, Chris, is that as we talked to Chris Carr, AG, running for governor here in the state of Georgia, they've never one time. And I've worked in radio 25 years, and I've never had such autonomy as we do on Extra 106.3. Never has David Dickey, the owner of this company, walked in and said, you can't talk about that or you must talk about this. First time in my career that's ever happened.
Well, good leadership, and that's why y'all are growing, too. People don't want to be spoon-fed. They want to just get the information, and it's harder and harder. There's more, there's more platforms.
Oh, sure.
There's more
media
information.
Splintered.
Oh, my gosh. They want some place that they can go and trust, and when they feel people are genuine, you're going to get that response.
How has it been for you going through this process? Because there's the 4-minute hit. There's the, hey, Chris, you got 90 seconds. Here's your elevator pitch. And then there's long form. Like we look to do, half an hour at the very least. What has been kind of your preference, and how have you kind of addressed each one of those forms of media?
Yeah, I'd rather do the long form. Because, again, if you're going to run for governor, you're going to run for Senate, people need to hear from you. You need to be able to answer the questions. Even if people don't like what you end up saying, at least if they feel like you're genuine and you're real and you're willing to at least, tackle the tough questions. Again, it's not an easy thing. It shouldn't be an easy thing. I'm fine with the 4-minute. I'm fine with the 2-minute. But I've always said I'd rather sit down with people. And I'd also, no matter if I give a speech or if I'm going to talk to students or I'm going to talk with somebody new, I'd rather answer the questions. I mean, I can give the spiel on why I'm running like we just talked a minute ago, but I would much rather answer questions that people have because that's really what's on people's minds.
No, it is.
If they're willing to ask you a question, that's what they want to talk about.
And we've ran across so much here in the state of Georgia because of the access. You talked about the airport. You talked about the ports. We have so many people coming to Georgia, but there's a fear, I believe, of AI. And you talked about it a little bit with there's going to need to be people that build the data centers, that maybe wire the data centers. But people are afraid AI is going to take their jobs. And you see Amazon saying we're laying off whatever the number is because of that. Sometimes upper-level management, sometimes in the warehouses. How do we repeal that, or how do we go against that? How do we take a path of success and not loss here in Georgia?
Yeah, well, it's here, though. I mean, AI is here. It's not going away. So the best thing we can do is plan for it, prepare for it, deal with it, and work with it. And again, over time, just like again with retail and the malls and when eBay showed up and Amazon showed up, yeah, it took some, but then it created others. That's going to happen here as well, I believe. But I think if you talk with folks that know what they're talking about, that Silicon Valley, Austin, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia are in the best position to be able to maximize the use of AI. And again, I think there are going to be some jobs that are lost, but those that learn to use AI are going to be the ones that are going to have a competitive advantage. And then there's going to be jobs and industries created as a result that we don't even know about. I mean, that's just how, humanity has gone from, the caveman through the Industrial Revolution to today. And I mean, it just keeps going faster. So with the universities that we have, with the companies, I mean, remember, cybersecurity, about a quarter of the world's cybersecurity business touches a Georgia company. 70% of the fintech market, those swipes on your credit card, touches a Georgia company in North America. We are in an incredible position to be able to maximize that. And I think we should be going down into the elementary schools and middle schools and high schools and allowing our kids to have the opportunity to learn so that they are ready for the job when it's time to come.
Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr, he is running for governor, joins us right here in studio for the Morning Extra. So you've had predecessors that were pushing to enhance the entertainment industry. We've recently had the push for green energy, electric car vehicles. As we look into technology, and as you mentioned, even as a double dog, we have tech right here in our backyard, one of the finest institutes of learning in the country. What is the environment we have to create to make sure that when that company looks to move from Silicon Valley, they don't go to Dallas, they come to Atlanta?
Well, or the business that's created here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the innovation centers, and we've got the tech hubs, and Atlanta Tech Village and stuff, and Castleberry and others. We need to create an environment where they want to stay. So what is that? It's a good regulatory environment. It's a good tax environment. It's a good workforce environment, and it is access to things like Hartsfield. I mean, think about where all you can go in the world. And just because we have the technology, you still need to go see a customer or a client, look them in the eye, and shake their hand. And I always said, if we could get businesses to get on the ground in Georgia to see who we are and what we're about, from the business environment to also, I mean, look, employees got to do stuff when they're not on the job, and the restaurant scene and the music scene and the sports scene and the things that we have that other states don't have. That's what we need to make sure that we're focused on. And a legal environment as well, balance. Don't let companies be the ATM for lawsuits, but you also have to have access. If you're harmed, if your business is harmed, if there's a contract dispute, or you got to be able, we the people said you have to have a place to go. These are the things that we've done well in the past, but we cannot take it for granted because we are one election away. Particularly from the folks when I worked for Isaacson in 2004, people would say not a dime's worth of difference between the Republicans and Democrats. Well, that day is over. If that was true then, that day is over. And think about it. Nominate the wrong Republican, and everything we believe in jobs and safety goes away because the Democrats can win. Georgians wake up 48-49% Republican, 46-47 Democrat. In 22, 6% of the electorate voted Raphael Warnock and then came down one line and voted Brian Kemp. That group of persuadable voters that are, college-educated women and men now all over the state care about jobs, safety, education, don't want to talk about social issues, and candidate quality matters. So that's how we've ended up. We've taken our eye off the ball. We got 2 Democratic senators that do not represent our state.
Boy, it hurts, too.
And think about that in the governor's mansion. Think about that. You can make a difference.
No question about it. Talking with Chris Carr, Attorney General, running for governor. Let's talk about those folks that are concerned about voting, that have questions about voting. Not trying to relitigate anything, but I was talking to Janelle King, who's on the Georgia Elections Board, and she said it's been wacky for many, many years. There's all kinds of, going back to 2015 or 2016 rather, where there's just irregularities and people are concerned about it. How do we make sure, if you're a governor, how do we make sure that those people voting feel good when they hit the button for you or anybody else? And how do we make sure you as a candidate gets a fair shake?
Yeah, short answer is we passed a law, SB 202 and 22, that focused on safety, security, access, and transparency. Those are 3 things you got to have because that's how we govern ourselves. One vote has to matter. It's got to know it's safe. You got to know it counted. You got to know that you can figure out if it did, and that's where we've done some. We did recounts and that kind of thing. If you think about 2018, remember Stacey Abrams said she lost because of voter suppression. Right. Not one single Georgian who was eligible to vote was prohibited from voting in 2018. How can I say that? Because she filed a federal lawsuit, and we fought her. And on all 20 counts, federal judge who happened to be appointed by President Obama threw it out. In 2020, we said widespread voter fraud. There just wasn't evidence of widespread voter fraud. No election's perfect, but it was hundreds of cases we were looking at, not thousands or tens of thousands. All that said, the legislature came back in 22 and changed, because Democrats were concerned about long lines and computers and local boards not doing what they wanted to. We were worried about fraud and long lines and local boards not doing what they were supposed to do. So we changed the law. And remember, Biden sued us, all based on Stacey Abrams' campaign flyers. And finally, thank heaven, my former colleague and friend Pam Bondi, they dismissed the lawsuit. You have to continue to focus on it. But I'll tell you guys, I feel a whole lot better about where things are today than we were before. And that said, when you looked at the specifics in 18 or 20, it just wasn't what some people were saying it was.
Chris Carr joins us in studio. He's the state attorney general running for governor as well. Let's get down to brass tacks and some of the most important stuff. Are we getting 2 playoff teams in Georgia and Georgia Tech? I think I know how you feel about this Saturday playing Florida.
Well, absolutely. Because in 1992, when I was a junior at Georgia, we had Garrison Hurst, Andre Zaire. We lose that game. The Florida players come down. The coaches do the Heisman pose and fall down in front of the stands. And I made a vow to myself then, guys, I would forever hate the University of Florida. And I wouldn't care if they ever won a game again. That's it. I mean, look, the line's 7.5. Seems like we start slow. I still think we're going to win that game. And God bless Georgia Tech. Brent Key has done an unbelievable job.
I don't know if y'all saw the article about Haynes King when he was like, they were talking about how tough this kid is. And my son's best friends, one of the quarterbacks down at Georgia Tech. So we keep up with him. And he said, I was urinating blood after the game. And still is still going. He is the linchpin to Georgia Tech.
He's got heart. And yes, I do think we're going to have 2 playoff teams. And I want it to come down to Georgia Tech and Miami.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
and Tech beat Miami for the ACC championship.
And that's another thing, too. I always pay attention to lines as well, just because I'm always kind of curious.
For entertainment purposes.
That's
only.
right. I do not do anything from that standpoint. But it is interesting to see a Georgia Tech team at 8-0. They're just a 5.5-point favorite against NC State. And it hasn't been like the odd makers have been wildly off. This Tech team, and on the strength of Haynes King and them making plays, they keep finding a way to win. They're not blowing people out, except for Syracuse, but they find a way to just win football games.
But I will take Georgia and Georgia Tech's coaches over a lot of the coaches in the country. Mentally tough.
Yeah.
Mentally tough.
I keep talking about how right now this Georgia team feels like one of those like 80s, 90s slasher movies. You think it's dead multiple times. The Tennessee game, I'm like, they're dead. Ole Miss, they're dead. It's like
Alabama. They went on to lose, but still, that was a heck of a comeback.
They keep popping back up, Chris.
The Sunday after the Ole Miss game, I was reading The Athletic, and they do this ranking of teams or whatever, and they put in for Georgia. The theme for this year should be, how in the world did we win that game?
Yeah.
But isn't it
fun?
We are. But we fun.
And our coach makes adjustments in the second half.
Yeah, we're a second half team.
We are. And I don't get it. Sports is great. It's mystical. It's great. But this team just the mental toughness that Kirby has done. It's just unbelievable. And we're so fortunate to have him as our head coach.
I would much rather be in our position than an LSU or a Florida or any of these teams for that matter.
I mean, that's just that's lost in the woods at that point, especially with those programs. And now we were talking about a little bit earlier. It's really much you are the CEO, and it's not just about the X's and O's and the recruiting the kids. Now I got to deal with NIL. I got to deal with the companies in the area. I got to deal with where the money's coming, who it's going to, running an entire program. There's a reason why you now have general managers in college football.
How do you see that moving forward? Because it seems like there's going to be a crossroads of politics and college football because of NIL and things like that.
It is, and I think that's a challenge. What's interesting is the product on the field this year is really good.
Yeah,
right? We're all worried, and there's no doubt there's money, and they fixed the portal thing, and that needed to be done. I worry a little bit about what's going to happen to the individual sports, the Olympic sport, because that's important too.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's critically important, but it seems like there is more parity. I mean, Indiana and Vanderbilt are in the top 10 in the college football rankings
ever thought
in 2025.
You cannot have any depth in this sport any longer because it goes to Vandy and Indiana, and they're talented players that are doing that.
That's right. So I wonder what this does on coaching. That's got to be tough. That's got to be tough. You're waking up every day, and I know it was a challenge before, but hopefully, I mean, I'm just a big fan of sports, so I don't want it to go away.
Chris, we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, guys.
And you're always welcome back to listen and talk to the people that are going to be pulling the lever for you.
Appreciate
you're always
y'all.
welcome.
God bless. Thank
you.
y'all.
Chris Carr, Attorney General, running for governor in the state of Georgia here on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Want you to find out more about him. Quick Google search. You'll find his social media. You'll find his website. And that way you can make an informed decision about where he stands. And he'll be back on the Morning Extra to talk to you again as well. For Chris and Los and Jeray, too, my name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?